Good morning and welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be going over why we need a carpenter profession. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. Okay, so today I wanted to go over a little idea I was thinking of, and mainly this all popped into my head a couple of months ago on Twitter when I saw Samadam basically posting a picture about a little bit about carpentry, basically talking about a little project that he'd literally done in his garden, and he mentioned a little caption of we should have a carpentry profession. Basically this popped into my head because of that, and I've been playing with the idea ever since, and I just remembered we actually haven't had a new profession properly since the end of Wrath. That was inscription. Now, since then, professions have gotten a bit boring, so to speak, and we are definitely well overdue a new profession. Overall, I was thinking about the carpentry one a little bit more in depth, and I was thinking, actually, this is a viable profession that we could actually have in the game. So overall, we're going to be going over the resources, what we're going to be doing, how you're going to actually do it, what can you do with the profession of crafting, with carpentry, and what we could actually do going forward. So that being the case, we're going to split it up into a few separate different ways in which we can actually go about this profession, and we're going to plan it out as we would if it was actually in the game already. That being the case, let's jump on to our first part, which is the sourcing of materials. Now, the sourcing of materials is pretty dead simple. How are you going to actually craft as a carpenter? Well, if you're going to be a carpenter, you're going to need like wood, and that would be along the lines of like a logger type profession. So I was playing with the idea, could you actually have another profession which is a gathering profession for like a woodcutter or something to that effect? Now I was thinking that probably wouldn't work all that well as a gathering profession, so hence why I was thinking maybe we just have a logger part, as much as like we have prospecting with jewel crafting, we have milling with inscription, we can have logging or wood cutting for the carpentry. Now this could be something along the lines of, obviously we're going to need to have different materials for older expansions. So I looked up and I went ahead and I researched all of the different types of areas with different types of trees. So when it comes towards Northrend, we would have something that was found in that type of area. So Wrath stuff is based off of more Scandinavian stuff, so we're going to need to find some form of tree that is from Scandinavia. The same with like some jungle zones, like different types of that. So let's run through all the different types of woods that you can farm up through this. From the skill rank for vanilla from 1 to 100, you can go to Silvermoon or Elwyn for Silvermoon Pine and Elwyn Oak. From 101 skill points to 150, you will want to go to Azure Vale Sycamore to Red Ridge Maple. For the 151 skill points to 225, that would be Dust Swallow Birch and Stranglethorn Palm. Obviously palm trees will be in Stranglethorn, so that just makes sense that way. I thought that would add a bit more of a layer of depth when it comes towards that profession. Things that you can also do with this is from 226 to 300 would be Burning Ash from like the Burning Steps or something to that effect, and Silithid Acacia. These types of trees are more like obviously ash to play on the fact of the burning steps, and also with Silithid Acacia, that is a tree that is found in deserts, so I thought that would go really well with that. Along with that, with like Burning Crusade, you won't need that many of those different types of woods from those expansions because they're only skill capped to 175. So for Burning Crusade, we would have Twisted Nether Cypress and Elementium Elm. With Wrath, it is just one, and that is Icebark Aspen, as well as for Kata, you have Cinder Sap Spruce and Highland Willow. Obviously, you get an idea where they come from. With Missa Pandaria, you've got Iron Husk Bamboo, to play alongside of the pandas, and how it's got mainly that type of scenery-esque thing with like the bamboo and all that stuff. With WOD, that you've got Arcanium Cypress to play along the fact with the Burning Crusade with Twisted Nether Cypress. So it's Arcanium into Twisted Nether. So that's a nice little throwback to that. With the Legion stuff, that is 175 again. Obviously, you've got Emerald Birch for Val'sharah and Blessed Elemental Elm for Legion as well. So that would be something to the fact of like Azuna or something to that. Other things of note for BFA, you would have from skill points 1 to 100, you would have Storm Song Birch as well as Blood Rich Mangrove, because obviously water-based, a mangrove would do really well for all of that stuff. And that we could actually go into all of that moving forward. Now, I was playing with the idea that Blood Rich Mangrove could be in like Nazjatar or something to that effect, or you could find like some form of like arcane driftwood to go under the sea, so it's trying to play along those facts. Or you could just corrupt things for Mists of Pandaria, so the Iron Husk Bamboo is just like Void Husk Bamboo instead of something along that side. So then you've got something to play with, which is a throwback to Mists of Pandaria. That would be for skill points 101 to 150. Now, moving into Shadowlands, how would we add this into it? So from 1 to 100 skill points, Soulful Redwood and Undying Oak. And those were the sourcing materials for this profession moving forward. The next thing that we would need to actually do is overview what you can actually do with the carpentry profession. And overall, I was thinking, well, you can do quite a bit with a carpenter profession. Now, with crafted utilities, you could do things like wand blanks. So you could take those pieces of wood and you could turn it into a wand. Then you have to send that over to an enchanter to jewel that with, and then they can enchant it so it can actually be used as a wand. The same can go with hilts. You could make the hilt for a sword, and then you could trade that on the auction house, and a blacksmith could purchase it to make a hilt for a sword. That would make the crafting process a lot more cooler, and it would mesh into other different professions moving forward. The same would go with crafted BOEs. With crafted BOEs, you could make bows and crossbows. That would work really well instead of like leather working to make bows. I don't really like that. And I think a carpenter profession would do well for bows and crossbows, as well as staves or staffs, as well as shields going forward, as well as that. I think that would work a lot better than just shoving them into other professions where it's like the majority of it is using wood. You might as well put it into the carpenter profession, and that would open up the BOE market even more, providing more of a variety of different types of things where we can expand on it in extra expansions moving forward. The last thing of note is what would be the key contributor for this profession. And I thought, well, I love crafted mounts. Everyone likes crafted mounts. It's pretty damn good. And this actually got me really excited, really, because I generally love this idea. So the basic baseline mount that you can craft is like a raft. That would be like your lowest tier mount that you can craft through this. And this could be locked through a recipe, through like an achievement or a quest line or something to that. Give more to the player to actually do instead of just learning it from a trainer, which is kind of boring, to be honest, just like learning it from a trainer. Why don't you have like a secret recipe that you have to do or something, or like a chain quest or something to that effect? That's what really worked kind of well in Legion, and it actually motivated me to do stuff. So if you want to have a better user experience, put it with some lore or something. Like on that, creating a raft is the lower tier. Then your second tier would be like a tugboat. You make a little baby tugboat that you can move along the water with. Like, we've got a load of water-based mounts already, like rafts and that. Why don't you be able to craft those mounts so it's not hard to implement and restructure or reskin those different types of things in order to place in? The majority of the time it's just a scaling issue, so it's just scaling the raft down to a size or scaling a boat down. And this is why I like this as well, because as you get higher up on the thing, with a carpenter profession, you could learn a specific thing, like obviously like gnomish engineering and goblin engineering. You could also learn a form of carpentry or like a shipwright engineering. So you could learn things like blood sail shipwright, and you could make the blood sail galleon mount, crafted mount. All you'd have to do is go to Strangleform, pick up that art asset and shrink it down so someone can look cool, and just change an animation. It's not hard to build an animation for a character. The South Seas warship, that would be pretty damn cool, and it could actually go into a nice expansion as well for that. Or you could get them to learn that through just by doing things through like 𝐀𝐝𝐝 or something like that. We've got all this stuff already in the game. All you got to do is just scale it down and restructure a few things. This is the one I like the most because this one's the flying mount of the crafted mounts, and that is the aeronautical galleon. Yes, I came up with the name. Basically, you're making a galleon as well as that, but you have to get enchanted materials like most other professions to actually craft something. Kind of like with the crafted legendaries, but you're doing it with carpentry and enchanting. They enchant all of the wood for that so it can actually fly, and it's a flying galleon that goes into the actual sky. And aeronautical it just sounds cool. Aeronautical galleon. So other than that, I like the idea of a carpenter profession. I've come up with all of the source materials that you can actually do for this. There's so much you can build upon. Like seriously, I love being able to craft like hilts. If you've got like a specific type of hilt, it could give you a certain type of hat stat for your sword. So if you've got like a reinforced dust wallow birch, and then you had that enchanted as a hilt, you could then add, I don't know, like 10 plus extra 20 stamina to like the actual sword, so when someone's using it they have a stat increase as well. There's things like that that would do really big in the grand scheme of things, and I love the idea of a carpenter profession. So this is my proposal on how I would go about doing this and what I would implement to make it a bit more fun. Other than that, guys, please leave your comments and opinions down below. Other than that, have a wonderful rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be soon.
Yeah.